Hello everyone. So I wanted to do an addendum to a video that I'd posted. Uh, Not too long ago I did a reaction video to the Star Trek Picard Season 2 trailer. And I had said that there was nothing in the show that I liked. And while I didn't like the show overall, there were some things that I did like. And I wanted to talk about that here. Just, you know, to put my full thoughts out there, and to not be, to still be critical of it, but not so critical. I wanted to kind of show what I liked. So, first thing, the design work. Although I'm not a fan of the main ship in the show, um, I think it's the La Serena. That's the name of the ship. Um, I I do like the Romulan bird of prey, and I like the USS Zheng He, Zheng Ha. Um, I like that ship, um, despite it being a really terrible, um, low-res, vintage 1990s CGI model. Uh, I still do like the design for the most part, um, and I think I'm glad they tried to do something that felt like it was grounded in the TNG era, TNG, Voyager, DS9 era. You know, it felt like it was from the 24th century. It didn't feel like some JJ shit or some kind of Discovery thing. It felt like, it was sufficiently post Voyager. Um, I like the idea of, I like that they dealt with the destruction of the Romulan Empire as stated in Star Trek 2009. I didn't like that they did that in 2009, but it creates a lot of possibilities. A lot of dramatic possibilities, something to explore, something, kind of a big catastrophic event within the Star Trek universe, and a chance to really um, explore what happens you know uh, when you have a longtime enemy who just because of some natural disaster ceases to be a galactic power, and the vacuum that's created in that. I don't think they explored it as thoroughly as they could have, or perhaps should have. Um, I think there's a lot of things that they didn't do, that they just really just kind of brushed up against. Um, I think instead of focusing on the Borg, as far as I mean, the Borg originally came from the Delta Quadrant. We know that. Guinan's line of they were created thousands of centuries ago or something like that does not jive with the notion that the Romulans created them. You know, they're from the Delta Quadrant. We know that. Voyager spent a considerable amount of time exploring that. So no, that fundamental thing in Picard I know I said I was going to do a positive video, but I can't help it. I have to say it. No, that's bullshit. That did not happen. The Romulans did not create the Borg, but um, uh, I think that they should have they not focus on the android stuff and the Borg tie-in, but really focus on the Romulans. You know, because it was kind of catching up where Nemesis left off. You know, Nemesis dealt with, at the very end, it was like, okay, they have some allies. There's an olive branch there into the Romulan Empire. And it makes sense that Picard would be on that front line of diplomacy. And so for him to come back 20 years later and deal with that, with the destruction of the Romulan Empire and the vacuum it created and all of that stuff, makes sense. You know, but they didn't handle it as well as they should have, and that's unfortunate. It's one of those things. But so I like those aspects. It was kind of cool to see a Captain Riker moment, even though it was, the dramatic weight of it was kind of lost, because he shows up with this giant fleet to combat this giant fleet. You know, I'm glad they didn't have a big space battle. You know, that's another thing I'm happy for, that it didn't kind of devolve into this big space battle, because it wasn't about a battle, it was about, you know, the drama that was unfolding on the planet below. But the other thing that I really liked and appreciated was Seven of Nine, and showing her being in a same-sex relationship. It was not what I would have expected them to do with that character, because she was kind of the, you know, the hot bombshell. She became that, the hot bombshell in Voyager. You know, she was made that. And Rick Berman's era of Star Trek was very, very much gay people should be ignored and don't exist, and forget about trans people. You know, they wouldn't have addressed us in a million years. So it was like, oh, no gays. Everybody in Star Trek is straight. Well, come on, you know. So thankfully, the producers of modern Star Trek, that's one of the things they've gotten right, I think, is that they're actually trying to be somewhat inclusive with the LGBTQ plus community. You know, so that's a good thing, and it's good that they made the is Seven, is she bisexual? Is she lesbian? I mean, I just watched the show once, and it was a year ago, so it's been a while. But it doesn't really matter. She's in a same-sex relationship. That's the symbolic thing, you know, and it's her. It's actually Jerry Ryan playing the character, and it's good, because when they try to introduce a new character, it loses all the weight, because the audience doesn't have a preconceived notion of that character. The audience, especially the older and more conservative members of the audience, have this idea of, oh, Seven of Nine, hot, straight. You know, the males are thinking straight sex when they think Seven of Nine. You know, not all of them, of course, but I'm speaking in general terms, you know, as she was presented in Voyager. And her being shown as being in a same-sex relationship challenges that, and that's a good thing. That's why it's important that we have main characters come out, basically, you know, because in real life that's what happens. You know, our society is not necessarily an open or free one, despite what some people may claim. So, uh, most times, that's why people come out. You know, because the default is always uh, emphasized as being straight, you know, or cisgender. The reality is, you know, like myself, people come out, and then there's the inevitable fallout from that. We wouldn't expect that in the Star Trek universe. You know, Gene Roddenberry back in the 80s wanted to show same-sex relationships on Risa, but Rick Berman and company overruled him. Oh, we can't show those evil gays. Evil, you know. So, yeah, that was great. Um, it wasn't. It was very quick, you know. It you could say perhaps it was glossed over, but it was there, and I think that's an important first step, and it's a great step that they made it a main character with whom we're familiar. You know, that we have that kind of connection to, mental and emotional connection to. Because now all of those people who hate that kind of thing are being challenged by going, oh, my character that I loved from this show is being presented as being something that's different than what I was told or believed or wanted. And that's the whole point of representation, is to challenge those that would have a problem with said representation. So, and the other important part of representation is for those people whom are in the closet, who feel like they're afraid, you know, and they don't have anyone that they can connect to on television. Representation is so important because for a long time, for most of my childhood and into my adult life, every portrayal of a trans person was that of someone who was mentally ill or someone who was the butt of the joke. And that's one of the many things that kept me in the closet for so long, for 35 years. And it's important that we have that kind of representation, you know, that we're visible in society, not only, you know, primarily for each other, you know, so that other trans people or gay people or lesbians or whomever can see us and feel like, oh, I'm not the only one, and that can help to encourage them to, you know, follow their path, but also in television, so that people can see that and go, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay. It's okay for me, to be out. So, you know, the more queer characters there are on TV, the better it's going to be for everybody. Because if you normalize it, eventually all those people who have a problem with it die off, or they, you know, unclench their assholes, you know, and just go, oh, well, it's okay after all, you know, or, I mean, you know, that does happen. It's perhaps rare, but it does happen. But, you know, with this representation on television, future generations, as is happening now, younger people are going to be more progressive, or at the very least more open-minded when it comes to diversity, both in color and, you know, in gender and sexual orientation and all that stuff. So we're already seeing that, and it's good to promote the idea, to show that it's okay to be gay or trans or whatever, you know. And the same thing happened with non-white people. You know, for a long time, non-white people, especially black people, were not generally shown in film and television. And when they were, it was as some horrible servant underclass. You know, they weren't given any power in real life or, in film and television. The reality was reflected in media. And for a long time, that's what it was like for people like me, too. So we're trying to progress. That's the whole idea, is that we're trying to solve all of these sociological problems. Trying to make things better for everybody. You know? And someone being trans or gay doesn't fucking hurt you at all. You know? Whether it be someone in real life, one of your friends or family members, someone you encounter randomly on the street, or as one of your favorite characters on television. It doesn't fucking hurt you at all. So just don't fucking worry about it. You know, if you don't like it, just shut the fuck up and leave the person alone. You know? Just get the fuck over it, because it ain't about you. Anyway. So yeah, those are the things I liked about Picard. I like some of the ships, even the low-res 90s Voyager background ship, Romulan ship, and I like the uniforms too. You know, but I didn't like the violence. I didn't like the swearing. I fucking swear all the time. I think I've made that pretty clear on my channel and in this video. But it doesn't feel right to me for Star Trek. You know, it would be like Yoda, if they had Yoda dropping F-bombs. You know, no, don't do that. I mean, for some parody, it would be funny, but not for the real thing. You know. But yeah. Anyway, I guess that's it. So, thanks for watching. If you liked Season 1 of Picard, I hope you enjoy Season 2. But yeah, anyway. And, I mean, let's be honest. I'm going to read up on this stuff. I'm going to see what the bullet points are, basically. You know. I mean, why not? They are playing in the official Star Trek universe. Yeah, anyway.